Hey, how's it going? It's Kevin. Today I'm going to tie an intruder pattern that is nice and light and sparse. It will definitely fish deep and get some attention to some winter fish. So, starting the vise, I have a 35mm Waddington shank. And I'll be using the Lagartun Ultra Strong Black in a 95 denier. So I'm going to run a thread base. For my stinger, I use 14-pound fire line doubled over with a size 4 intruder hook. So when I say doubled over, I mean I cut a long section here. I make the first loop, and then I actually double it back over. And I feed that double loop through the hook eye. With these octopus style intruder hooks, you want to feed the line through the top of the eye right here like this, so it comes through, and then when it comes tight, it pulls straight. Put a little bit of Sally Hansen's on there just as an extra safeguard for me. Probably don't need it after running it up 3 times, but still like to do it. I'm gonna put in my eyes. So from hairline, I'm using these brass eyes. They're a medium and a black nickel. For my first little dubbing loop here, I'm gonna use this from Frosty Fly. It's the Hemingway's Frosty dubbing in a pink. It's a pretty long fiber with a good amount of sparkle into it. It's fairly stiff. So what I'll do is I'll drop a dubbing loop off the back of the fly here. Then push back any of those fibers that got caught up. Next, I'm going to be using some of these peacock eyes. These are from Spirit River. These were I think the hairline has them, but they were kind of a UV treated shiny peacock eye in a bright pink. And so I want is the actual fibers up here off the eye. And I'm going to take probably about 3 or 4 per side. So once I have these fibers, they're way too long for what I want right now, but I'm going to put these off the back as kind of feelers, and they're going to help my saddle hackle stay off of my hook later on. So make sure these are all about the same length. So once I've got 2 bunches of those, I'm just actually going to tie them on each side kind of in a clump. And want to have them go just about to the hook. Then I'm going to go with a nice piece of pink Schlappen. For this, you'll see I'm going to take away all of these fluffy pieces down at the bottom. I'm going to strip all of that out. And for this one, I don't mind if it's a little bit full, so I'll leave both sides on. I'm going to tie it in from the tip with the concave side facing into the fly, so the fibers will flip back. Then for my body, I'm going to use this Lagartun. It's the French Flatbriad. It's in this like sparkly silver color. I'm using this because it really stands out. Sometimes I'll tie flies that the body matches the rest of the fly, but with something like this, it gives it just that little bit extra flash. So use a different color here for the body. You saw on both the ostrich and then also, on the peacock, and then also on the flatbraid, I tied that in all in the front and ran it back the whole length of the shank. Whenever you cut your materials off here at the back, it'll leave a nasty looking hump. Still fishes just fine, but I like this nice uniform body across there. So now I'm making the shoulder here. I'm going to use some blue Arctic Fox. Can't really see with my shirt, but there, with some blue Arctic Fox that I'm going to put into a dubbing loop here. So I'll drop a loop off here. I'm not really using a ton of this stuff, so I'm okay with leaving some of these under furs in here, but I'll do a quick little pull. So to prep this material, you kind of roll in your fingers so you get all the nice longer stuff. You can see some of this short little under fur pulls off really nice and easy. Drop this in the loop. So now I've got a nice shoulder underneath there. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a piece of black Schlappen. So the same way that I tied in that pink, I'm going to tie in by the tip, And I'm going to go a little bit less on this one. I'm not going to strip off one side, but I'll go a little bit less. And the only purpose of this Schlappen is really just to give a little bit of prop on that Arctic fox so it doesn't just press down in the current. And so I'll just go quick 2 wraps with this, pushing all these fibers back as I come through. With some blue Flatbriad. I've seen a lot of other people talk about this on YouTube as well, but a great way to prep Flatbriad is you just kind of make a little cut in the corner, and then you can just kind of pull out the fibers that you need. So let them hang out, and then you can make those cuts instead of messing and trying to wrangle the whole pack. So I'm probably close to 15. Again, I'm gonna do the same thing on these. Go underneath, up top, kind of get those all moving in the same direction. And these are nice and long right now. I'll trim those once the fly is done, but no need to mess on those. But those run pretty far back, but I'll trim as I go. My next thing I'm going to put in is my hackle tips. And so these are off of a Euro hackle from whiting that I dyed myself. And these are long, and most of the people would probably use these for musky or try to find some other way to use the whole feather. I'm just going to be using probably half the feather. So I'm going to line up my tips there so they're the same length. And I'm trying to get those a little bit past the hook point. And as I lay those in, I'm going to try to push them each to the side a little bit more, not straight on top of my fly. And so what I want those to do is, as I said, I put that, there's peacock eyes in there. That's going to act as a little bit of a saver so they don't go swinging into my hook and foul up easily. My last step is I'm going to put a little bit of kind of a finisher on the head here to give it a little bit of extra movement, but also kind of keep it nice. From Spirit River, who now is Hairline, they do this tip dyed marabou, and I've only seen it in the bigger pieces. Now they carry it in these tiny, the tiny tip dyed marabou. This is the pink and purple. And this is really nice marabou. This is some of the finest, cleanest tips, really nice barbs, not a lot of fluff on them. Really some just tremendous, tremendous marabou. So I'm gonna clean off the bottom here. And the one thing about this fly and the way it's constructed now is that it doesn't have a big bulky shoulder. With this extra little bit of marabou on the top, it's gonna give a nice profile on the head, but it'll sink quick with these eyes on here, and it won't be too much where it's a big piece of feather swimming across. So I'm gonna tie this in by the tips. So now I can go back into the back here and I can trim up my flash. I want to keep that in the body of the fly. And I'm not making a straight cut on this. I'm keeping it all in kind of a little, its own unique lengths. As every time I pull out through, just pull a little bit and kind of start to cut as I go. So it's not a block of flash in there. It's all unique different lengths on each strand. And then I'm going to clean up the head here with a few more thread wraps. Make sure all of my fibers are back. And for a little something extra on these flies too, I still like to use cement. This Loon Hardhead Black is what I like to use. Take with a bodkin and kind of apply it on as needed. So thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you found this useful. If you liked it, please click the like button down below, subscribe to my channel, or check out some of these other videos that I've done. Thanks, have a good one.